Hello, my name is Dr. Hazel-Grace Yates, and my primary co-lead, Sean Patrick Mayer, and I are here to talk about the Cock Project and the Pussy Project, in which we are going on tour this summer. So, Sean, I would love for you to introduce yourself briefly.
Absolutely. My name is Sean Patrick Mayer. I'm a men's connection coach, and I primarily work with single men who are craving deeper sense of love and intimacy. And I help them feel safe enough to open into deeper connections with themselves and ultimately with others as well.
Awesome. So this brief video here is to give you all an idea of what the Cock Project and the Pussy Project is. And I want to first start off by sharing the moment that I was most impacted in the circles. It was actually 3 years ago, the first Cock Project I ever facilitated. At the end, one of the women who was participating said, I came in to this workshop with a really hard heart towards men and scared of men and thinking that men only wanted one thing and that they were this one particular way. And she said at the end that she felt softness in her heart and compassion towards men, and had the experience of realizing that men have gone through the same things that she has gone through. And she realized how similar we were as compared to how different we were. And I'm excited about that woman moving in the world and looking towards men in that way. And that moment was really the moment that's fueled me for the last 3 years of bringing this work forward. So that was the moment that really stood out to me.
I have a similar moment actually that I want to share. And it was, I guess, earlier this year or late last year. And it was actually with a man who came to the Cock Project, and he was really reserved and really, really quiet and not very available in the space. And he ended up deciding not to be in the inner circle during the Cock Project. He ended up being in the outer circle because he also felt really cold and guarded, and all these judgments of what he perceived to be men and masculinity in his world. And so he ended up witnessing the entire process instead of actually engaging in the inner circle. And afterwards, he was like a completely different person. He said within moments of it beginning, he realized that he wished he'd been in the inner circle. And it just really opened him up to seeing like that, man, that there are other men like him. Like he was feeling so alone in the way that he showed up in his sexuality and his world as masculinity. And it felt so good to him. It seemed like it felt so good to him to be met and seen by others. And then at the end, he was talking about wanting to go into working with men and supporting them in their masculinity. So it was by far the most massive transformation that I saw over the course of a couple hours out of all the projects that I've been a part of. It was really, really beautiful.
I remember who you're talking about, and I remember when he spoke at the end, I was like, it was a little bit of a shock because he literally seemed like a different human being, and I was just completely blown away. Yeah. Right. So we just went in and said, what was our memory from something that stood out to us. And I want to just take a moment of what is my big why, and love to hear your big why, Sean. So for me, my purpose and mission on this planet is to help end global sexual shame. And I feel very strongly that sexuality is some of our deepest wounds. And so with that, we have the possibility that when we can heal those, we can create the most liberation and the most freedom. And for me, what I've seen, and this is my dissertation, is that the genders have co-created this wounds and this pains together. And so the thought of us creating that together, I also think is the equal, which is like, let's come together and co-create the healing and the unwinding of that pain that we've caused together. And these circles are such a potent and concise and efficient way to actually have that unwinding and that healing and that compassion happen for both genders.
Beautiful. Yeah. That's inspiring to hear you say those things. For me, my big why is that it seems like in all the work that is done, and even in my life, all the spiritual work that I did, it's like the one place that still was so dark and so shadowy was sexuality. And it was also the place that seemed to be producing the deepest wounds. And so I experienced so much suffering that just seems so unnecessary now that there are these types of circles available for us to all see that we're not alone in our experience, and that we can actually find community that can support us in our own healing and our own expression of these wounds, and that it doesn't have to be shadow. And that this place of sexuality is some of our greatest strength and our power and our creation. It's some of those most magical, some of the most magical energy that we can have access to in our bodies. And so clearing it off and awakening it is so damn important for us to truly walk our mission in this world. And so I feel really, really passionate about being able to support that process in any way that I can.
Totally. I love that. Thank you. I really felt that in my body when you were saying that. Like, cool. So that's our why, and that's what some people have gotten from this. So what is it? So I'll tell you really quickly. So the Cock Project and the Pussy Project, they're both a 3-hour process, and anyone is invited and welcome to participate as a witness. There's an inner circle and an outer circle at each one of these. So anyone can witness either one of them, but the inner circle, there's a particular group that makes up the inner circle. So for the Cock Project, it's for anyone who identifies as having a cock or a penis. It's going to share their stories around their sexuality and their genitals. And then for the Pussy Project, the inner circle is for anyone who identifies as having a pussy or a vagina and sharing their stories around their sexuality and their genitals. And the idea is that whoever's in the inner circle sharing their stories, they're being held and supported by silent, compassionate witnesses. And it's Sean and my job to guide the group to create the safest possible container for us to go to the deepest places, but also feel really held and supported in those maybe uncomfortable places. And the thing that we're really proud about is that these workshops that anyone can come, and you don't ever have to share anything. And we get that just even showing up in that space is a big deal, right? So just know that you have the authority and the agency to choose your level of participation in showing up at these events. And I also will say to me, the most magical part of the whole process is actually towards the end, where the witness circle, the outer circle who's been silent and listening, they actually get to share back what it was like, how they were impacted, and the difference it made for them. And I'm getting goosebumps just imagining being in that circle. All those circles that we've been in of just like that magical part, because the inner circle realizes what a gift it's been for the witness circle, and there's just so much liberation and healing and connection and understanding that you just gotta come and experience it for yourself.
Oh man, yeah, I love that you described it that way, because actually the witnessing piece is possibly my favorite part of it all. It has so much impact, and it's so transforming to simply witness others and realize that we're not so different.
We're not so different. Yes, we are so similar. Yeah. Sean, is there anything else that you want to say here as we come to the end here?
I want to share that I'm so excited to take this out on the road and get to go do this in many cities, and to experience this and bring this to different communities. I feel so excited and honored and just totally jazzed about this. So I really look forward to being in all these different cities, and I really look forward to seeing all of you in these circles and really getting an opportunity to have this experience with us. Yeah, awesome. And I am thrilled and honored to have you, Sean, with me as my primary co-lead in traveling the country, because you are amazing, and it feels like an honor to have you with me on my side.
So if you are curious if we're coming to your city, contact us. If you want us to come to your city, let us know, and we'll see you on the road. Blessings. Love you all.